I don't know. Whatever that means. That's what he said.
I like
All
it.
right.
I like
you ready?
it. Yes.
All right. Yo, welcome to the Reps That Count podcast. We are your hosts. I am Valentz.
And I'm Adam. And the reps that count are the moments, struggles, and victories that define what it is to live a good life. So on this podcast, we dive into the good reps of fitness, mindset, and relationships, and how to approach those to make your life better.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. What's up, Adam? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Episode 17.
17. I counted in. This is 16.
How is this?
It is 17. We
It
have
is.
a lost episode.
No, but I thought we didn't count it. Oh, did we? I don't know. Anyways, episode 16 or 17.
Yep.
We'll look back at it. All right. So on this podcast, we have a little bit of a tradition where we ask a question. And this question is not only for us. We will answer. But if you want to take the time to think about your answer, you could put it in the comment section or just write it in your journal or whatever. This is, I think, a very good exercise to do every once in a while. So, Adam, what is something you've done in the past week that you are proud of?
Okay, so Saturday, we went to a wedding.
Okay. I saw the pictures.
Yeah, it was fun.
Uh-huh.
And it was the fittest wedding I've ever been to.
Okay.
Because it was all CrossFitters, but it was a really fit wedding. And we don't get out often, but we went out.
Oh, yeah.
But so I'm not proud of how ham I went during the wedding, although it was fun. I'm proud of the next day. I got up. I was probably hungover for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Shook that off, and I was at the zoo with Caden by 9.
Okay.
So it was the fact that I did not let that night ruin the next day.
I got you. I like that. I like that. You still woke up and took care of your responsibilities.
Yep.
What were you drinking though? Like, what's your drink of choice?
I was drinking whiskey diets, and that's not even my drink.
That was just what was handed to you.
I'm a tequila drinker, but I don't
Me
drink.
too.
I don't drink anymore. So I'm talking. I go months without drinking at this point. But I walked up to the bar and I think the person in front of me ordered a whiskey diet, and I was like, "That sounds good."
Sounds good. Let me get the same thing. Okay,
bro. I worked in the bar. I was a bartender for 10 years. I should be a better drink orderer. At this point. Nope. I'm like a rookie again.
That's crazy.
Give me a pina colada.
Do people have like bartenders hate when people order pina? Like, really?
Hate it.
Oh my god. I know this is. I should be answering the question, but like, what's another drink besides pina coladas that like when somebody orders, like the bartender's like?
It depends at the bar that you work at.
Okay.
Because some bars are prepared for this and everything's set up for you to make complex cocktails. But if it's not set up like that, like a mojito, like you got to go grab mint leaves, you got to grind it up with limes and sugar, and there's a process.
Yeah.
But I've worked at a mojito bar, and it's set up that is just as fast.
Okay.
But yeah, if I need a blender, like, come on, man, have a shot.
Okay. All right. I like that. Okay.
What's one thing that you are proud of this past week?
So it actually has to do with this podcast. So one of the things that we've been working on is improving the audio quality and video also. And 2 episodes ago, we released an episode and the audio was bad. Like it was bad. I didn't even notice it. The volume was too high, and our friend Ari reached out to us and was like, "Yo, you guys are clipping." So I had to go back and do some edits. But in the conversation we had with him, like he just basically gave us some tips, and I learned how to implement that on episode 16.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I started adding some compression and so everything sounded better. Episode 16. Now this episode we have a whole different mic setup.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm proud of that. Like right now, like we're moving, and like the last episode with the mic stand we had, it was just vibrating. Everything was just getting picked up. So every time we hit the table, it was just like a shock, just on your microphone, because mine was still on on the floor. But now we can move around. You feel me?
We're good.
So I am
Gucci.
proud of that. Learning new skills and improving.
I'm proud of you, dude.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man.
If you guys don't know, I just talk, and Valentz does everything else.
Nah, you do other stuff. You do the uploading, and you did the transcript.
He gave me one task.
You do
Can you upload what I've already put in all the work for? Can you just click OK? He gave me one task.
I mean,
so he's amazing.
It's teamwork, man. It's teamwork. Yeah. So that's that. Now, if you want to introduce the topic, I don't know how you're gonna introduce this, but this is a great topic.
Oh yeah. So the topic for today is being present. It is being present.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
Something that I think most of us struggle with, and it causes a lot of anxiety. It causes miscommunication with spouses. It causes you not making the most of your time or what you're currently involved in, like your fitness program, your nutrition, because you're doing something else or thinking about something else.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that I'm not a pro at yet, and I work at every day. Every single day I'm trying to be present, and something is pulling me in another direction.
Yeah.
So,
and it also causes depression.
100%.
Right. So one of the quotes, I don't remember where I got this from, but essentially when you were thinking and worrying about the future, that causes anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're thinking and like trying to relive the past, that could cause depression.
Oh yeah.
So like being in the present moment, that's like the cheat code to life. So
the reps that count.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now, with the new format, we're gonna link this to fitness, the mind, and relationships. So let's dive into fitness. I think I have some good stuff for this one.
Good.
You'll start.
You know what? I'm gonna let you tackle fitness, and I'm gonna tackle nutrition.
You want me to do the whole? No. Just start, because like you have the notes, and like my things are just give us a broad.
Well, no, I more wanted, because when I talk about fitness, I'm actually talking about wellness. So nutrition falls into that. And I think most people know that they shouldn't eat a Big Mac.
Okay.
And when they're too busy or they're not setting the right intentions and they're not being present, that's just their default that they go to, because it's the easiest thing.
It's easy, yeah.
So mindful eating is something that I practice with my clients, and something that I think people should adopt more of. You don't need to count macros. You need to be mindful about what you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. But there's a lot of different ways of doing this. And with my clients, I practice actually visualizing what you're about to eat, thinking about it, thinking about the process that it took to get to your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts your mind in a completely different space. Like, let's say you're eating a grape. It's like,
I really just got into the place of eating.
Yeah, it's
a grape.
Think about where that grape came from. Like, from a farm, right? Like, who picked that grape, and what was the process of it getting to your plate? And I'm talking like in an extreme situation, but being mindful of the process that it took to get to you, and now you're going to put it into your body. Because when you think about, like, let's say a real healthy salad with chicken and all this stuff, that's a big process.
Yeah, that
to get to your
100%,
plate.
Yeah.
But you can appreciate that process, as opposed to think about what it took to get that Big Mac on your plate.
Yeah.
So completely different process.
Yeah.
So you think about slaughterhouses, you think about fake meat, you think about hydrogenated oils, you're thinking, so you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't necessarily put that in my mouth.
Yeah, I didn't know where you was going with that, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? But let's go back to the salad, or just in general, like preparing food at home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I feel like that's something you could appreciate too, because like you're putting the time and effort into yourself. So like when you're sitting there and you're enjoying the meal that you prepared, like that has a positive energy to it.
So I'm gonna share this article in the notes.
Okay.
For I think I can only do it on YouTube. So if you watch it on YouTube, I'll share it in the comments. But they did a study, and this is about 15 years ago, and it was over meditating or praying over your food. And they had one group of people talk very negatively to the food, and one group of people show gratitude for what they were about to consume. And the group of people that were talking negative to the food, when they looked at the food under a microscope, it completely changed the molecular composition of the food. And it was like, and they showed the pictures, like the people that were practicing gratitude, it looked like snowflakes. And the people that were practicing like negative talk towards their food, it just looked crazy. So I think there's a lot of power in expressing gratitude for what you're about to put into your body. Do we know the full science behind that? Probably not. But that's some real data right there, that being intentional, mindful, and practicing gratitude really affects everything around you.
I feel like they did the same study with plants also.
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like there was like a study where like there were two plants and one of them got like the negative talk, the other one got the positive talk, and the positive plant like grew exponentially like more.
Yeah.
So yeah, the words are so powerful.
Oh yeah.
Always powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that, man. Just like again, just thinking about the process, I feel like you could be more appreciative, and it would bring you better, like just energy and a feeling towards the eating. But yeah, I guess as far as fitness, like some of the things we could talk about is like being present, right? And having an intention while you're working out. So that's something that I think I touched on before, back when I took a break from weightlifting, because I would come into the gym and I wouldn't feel like weightlifting, and I couldn't be present in the moment. So I had to take a break, because I'm like, if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, I could get hurt. And that's one of the biggest things that could happen. But the thing I really want to touch on was the note that you text me, as far as just like being present in class. And one of the things that I notice frequently at every CrossFit gym I've ever been to is just like the individuals who come to the class and are having sad conversations, or they're on the phone while the coach is talking and explaining things. Excuse me. And just first and foremost, that is disrespectful. Like that is like as disrespectful as you could be when someone is explaining something and then you're in the back having a conversation that everybody else could hear. It's disrespectful to the coach, and it's disrespectful to the other people, the other members who are paying for the service, and they're trying to pay attention. And I feel like the reason a lot of people do that is because they feel like they know the information already. Like newer CrossFitters are not going to be talking. They're going to come, they're going to listen. So the more experienced individuals are, I know what the workout is. Box jumps, wall balls, burpees. I could do that.
Yep.
Like I already know 21-59. I'm good. Whatever the coach is saying is not important. But I mean, you've seen me do workouts here before. I'm a weightlifter. I've trained under some of the best coaches in Florida, a couple of them. But if I'm doing a class and there's snatches or clean and jerks, I'm doing the warm up. Whatever the warm up is, I'm just going to do it. Like I'm not gonna be like, I got my own warm up. I'm gonna go in the corner, do my warm up. You guys let me know when the class starts. No, if I'm in the class, I'm gonna do the burger warm up, whatever it is. Even if I feel like it doesn't make sense, I'm gonna follow it. And the reason being is I find a lot of value in hearing things again.
Yeah.
Right? Although I might know the information, you might explain it in a way that I've never heard. And one of the things I found in weightlifting is one word could change your complete understanding of a movement. And everything that you've heard in like 2-3 years, one word could just bring it all together.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss. Where it's like, oh, I already know this information. But I don't know. I just being present is coming to class, paying attention to what's going on, being in the 1 hour that you're here. Like you're probably gonna be in the gym for like 2-3 hours anyway.
And you would enjoy that class so much more. I don't care what they're teaching or what's going on in class, but just letting go of the world. That's why people do this.
That's what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Letting go of everything that's outside and just being here for an hour is powerful medicine. And people don't.
No, not at all. And the other benefit too, right, is like you get to learn how to explain things to other people. Like as I'll listen to somebody just say something over and over again, and now that just becomes like a tool that I could use for somebody else.
And so, I wrote this down here. Just even if it's the same warm up 8,000 times, coaches shouldn't do that. But let's say it is. Embracing repetition as also a form of being present is important.
Yeah.
So I have a tattoo of the Enzo circle on my arm. And in Buddhist culture, they draw the Enzo circle every single day. Same circle.
Wow. Okay.
And it's one of the meanings of the Enzo circle is when the mind is free to let the body create. And that's ultimate presence. Right? So by doing this incomplete circle, because it's never perfect, it's that thousands of repetitions that allows your mind to be free, and now the body can do what the body's meant to do. So enjoy, like finding joy in repetition. Like when something becomes so automatic that it's freeing, that's a next level.
Okay.
And that's like that flow state kind of level. But you can't do that unless you put in the reps.
Mean, yoga, right?
They're doing the same
movements all the time.
Yeah. How do you expect to get great at anything if you haven't put in 10,000 reps?
Yeah. Like it's just I've taken many yoga classes and it's all, down dog to up dog and vinyasa. It's the same thing. Like they might switch it up a bit, but it's the same things over and over until you get great at it.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I love that. Did you have a nugget for fitness?
Yeah.
I think all of that. I felt like all of that was
big nuggets.
Yeah.
I'll do for eating. A lot of people eat fast, and it's becoming faster and faster. They did studies. It's like 50% faster than it was 10 years ago because people were just in such a rush, and 50% over the previous decade. It's getting ridiculous, right? We're just trying to eat as quick as possible. Your body cannot process that food. Digestion starts in the mouth, and you have to chew 20 to 30 times. And I don't do this. I wish I did. Don't do this. But you have to chew each bite 20 to 30 times in order to, especially like fibrous foods, in order to start that process and digest something appropriately. Okay. I'm a kind of person where I swallow my food. My mom said, you eat like you were in prison. So what I did was start putting my fork down in between each bite.
Oh, okay.
And it just gives you a couple seconds. It just makes you aware. Like, like sometimes there was times where I didn't even look at my food. I was just like, I had 3 minutes between class to.
Yeah.
That's not the way eating's supposed to happen. It's you're supposed to sit down and undistracted, leave your phone somewhere else, and appreciate this, this nurturing that process that you're going through. So my nugget is, if you struggle with this, just put your fork, start small. Just put your fork down between each bite. Don't even count your bites, but between each bite, just put your fork down. And that will start the process.
Okay. I love that. I think for me, it's just pay attention. Like just pay attention and try to find, like, if you're in class as a student, try to learn something new. Right? And it's not that hard, right? It could be a new word or how somebody else describes something. Because we could go out there and 2 different coaches could coach the exact same workout and they will explain it totally different ways.
Oh yeah.
So just pay attention and try to pick something up.
And for coaches, give them something new. You
Okay.
know, like and it doesn't have to be a new method because there's
There's only
science
so many.
is science.
Yeah.
But explain it. Not everyone learns the same way.
Oh yeah.
So explain it a little bit different. Like do your homework. Like I do homework every day. And before any class I coach, I'm watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I am trying to learn something new. And I've been doing this a real long time.
Yeah. Because again, you could explain something and it won't make sense, and then you explain it different, like the way I use box jumps to explain snatches.
Yeah,
the other day, right?
Like
that's
and I had never heard that before.
I'm the only person that I know. I've never heard anybody else do that.
Yeah, I thought
and that was the first
amazing.
time I've explained it to somebody.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever. But I've had it in my mind for a long time.
It came off smooth
because I practice it in my head all the time. So yeah, I love that. All right. Mindset. Being present with
this is a big one. A huge one. So this is the one that a lot of us struggle with, and if we approach the mind, then it can transfer over to relationships and into fitness and health. But it all starts in the mind, and being present is hard. Your mind is, especially for us.
Yeah.
Like I'm diagnosed ADHD. My mind is always trying to do something else. Right now there's 3 songs, 17 tabs. My mind is always doing so much. So I have to constantly remind myself to be here.
Yeah.
And there's certain moments, there's certain places in life that allow me to be a little more present. Like this has been so good for me because of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm just here.
This is like for real. Like, like there's now I just looked on my phone for notes. Yeah. But like when I'm in here, it's like we're good.
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is maybe one of the most present places there. But find a couple places that allow you to be really present and do more of that. That's a good start. Then another really important thing is just tackling one thing at a time. Multitasking is a lie, a real big lie. You cannot give enough attention to several things at the same time. Tackling one thing with your full attention, you're going to be able to do quality work faster than half-assing 20 things. And I think it's important to even like flow state's real. Like you can crank out some real good quality work if you get into that flow state, hyper focus flow state. But that only happens if there's one thing you're focused on.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Wow. Sorry. I was like I got lost in thought. I was just kind of focused on what you were saying. And I lost my train of thought of what I was gonna say. All right, so you wrote like in the notes that we have, the grass is greener on the other side.
Oh yeah.
I think you said that as like a syndrome or something.
Grass is greener syndrome.
Yeah.
I suffer from it. So
okay, cool.
Big time.
I think so. That is definitely something I feel like a lot of people suffer from, right? Like you're always thinking that, if you made this decision instead of this other one, like things would have been better. Or if you were in this car instead of this other car, things would be better. And I feel like the way to be present when it comes to situations is to kind of remember where you were.
Oh yeah. That's
what I mean? Like
that's
just
great one.
And that will allow you to show gratitude and be like, okay, this is my moment. This is where I am. This is actuality, and I'm grateful for this, right? And also looking at the alternative of not having, right? I think it's negative
visualization.
Yeah.
I do it often, and it's powerful. Like, it's a stoic meditation. And you picture a worse scenario. So I've taken it far. Like I don't have legs anymore. You know, like
Yeah.
when I had to do this before a workout. You know, I was in the car and I didn't want to work out, and I just closed my eyes and I
Like,
pictured like,
what if you couldn't?
yeah, what if I couldn't?
Yeah.
And I got in there, and it was a
You
great
did your thing.
workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So again, the thinking that the grass is greener, right? Like if you had like your neighbor's house, like you would live a better life, but you don't necessarily know what like if again, let's just put it this way. A lot of times it's based on decisions, right? I just saw a video where somebody was like, you know, a student could choose to go to a college, and they'll go to the college and be like, well, this college sucked. I should have went to the other one. But there's absolutely no way of you knowing that the other one would have been a better choice. It could have been a worse choice, right? You could have just been picking from two bad options. But you won't know that, and you just have to be okay with not knowing, and you have to be okay with the choices that you made and finding something positive out of it.
Oh yeah. As far as I'm concerned, or no, we don't live in the multiverse. So this is your reality.
Yeah.
And these are the cards that you were dealt. And one, it can always be worse. And someone is experiencing something way, way harder than you. And two, this is it. Like, you don't have anything else. So worrying about, and I've gotten better at this, worrying about what ifs, worrying about other trajectories, worrying about the past or anything like that is a waste of energy that you could be putting into making your situation better. What grass is greener? The one that you water.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's my old boss from New York, because I quit and then I came back and I quit and I came back. And he was a good friend of mine. We became good friends, and I still love him to today. He said that I would never be happy because we're friends. He could talk to me like this. He was like, Adam, you're just, when I quit the third time, he was like, Adam, you're just never going to be happy because you're always going to chase what's next.
Oh.
And I had to sit with that. I really had to sit with that. And I did sit with that, and I messed up a couple more times, but I think I now it's like, this is what I have, and I am happy with what I have. And if this is all, I'm to the point, if this is all I have forever, that's okay.
Okay.
Like growing this life and doing, like, I'm at a really okay with enjoying with what I have, regardless of what it is. I have my necessities. People are healthy and happy. We're good.
Okay. I love that. All right. You want to go ahead and go into your nugget?
Yes. So this one is one that I found.
Okay.
And it's called the 5-4-3-2-1 technique. So when you find yourself like anxious and thinking about 1,000 other things, there's a technique that you can use where you sit down and you close your eyes, and actually you don't close your eyes. So you point out 5 things that you can see.
Okay.
Then you point out 4 things that you can touch. Then you point out 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste.
Okay.
And I've tried this before.
You tried it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it snaps you into the present, dude. Because you are focused on the things that are around you.
Wow. Okay.
Another one that I use when I know I'm supposed to be here and I'm not. Like, let's say I'm with my son and I'm thinking about work and we're at the park. And it's like, you work so you can hang out with your son at the park. Not the other way around.
Yeah.
This is where you're happy and this is where you're supposed to be. Don't be thinking about that. I whisper to myself, or like in my head, it's like, be here. Be here. And it's like almost like a mantra that I'm saying. And that's actually the only mantra that I use.
Just be here.
Just be here. And sometimes it just takes that constant reminder that, stop that, dummy. You know?
Okay. All right. So honestly, being present is one of the goals that I have for this year.
Mhm.
Like, it's actually the last thing I wrote when I did my goals is be present, which is very broad, but it's relevant. For me, my nugget would be to plan better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, having better plan, like a better set plan for your day would allow you to be more present.
Oh yeah.
Just knowing what you have to do. Like, hey, from 9 to 5, I'm at work, right? And hopefully you don't have any emergencies. But if it's not an emergency, you shouldn't worry about anything other than that, right? And when you're at work, you have your plan there. From 6 to 7:30, I'm at the gym.
Yep.
This is me. From 7:30 till bedtime, I'm with the family.
Mm-hmm.
This is it. And I think that's a nice way to be present.
I 100% agree. It's you tackling the day instead of the day just happening to you.
And you're just like running around.
I've had those days.
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm used to.
That's
what I'm used to. But I started to have my plan, and it's like,
oh yeah,
I have work, then I'm gonna come and record this podcast, and then I'm gonna go home and pack for a trip, and then I have it of set,
Love it.
All right, last one, man.
Relationship reps.
This one is always tough for me, man. Talking about relationships, like it's the hard thing to talk about, I think.
Yeah,
because I don't want to like offend people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, relationships I feel like it's a touchy subject, and anything you say, like, a lot of times people tend to just want to internalize like your words when it comes to relationships, but these are the reps that count, right?
These are the reps that count.
Like, we have to talk about this stuff.
Yeah. And it, relationships isn't only intimate relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's your relationship with your mom, with your boss, with your coworker, with your enemies. Like, everything's a relationship. We're just connected sentient beings.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about, it's Valentine's Day, so we'll talk about
it. It is Valentine's Day.
So being present, I think what really crushes relationships is lack of being present, growing apart, focusing on you and other things, and not like listening to the other person, not spending quality time, just quantitative of time, and then you wonder why you grew apart. You weren't present, they weren't present, you guys were just focused on your own thing. And relationships take a lot of work, but I think the number one thing is being present. That's not going to fix all the other bullshit that's going on. Sometimes people aren't meant to be together, and that's cool. But I think if you're not being present, you didn't give it a fair shot. So active listening, like actually listening, spending, like, and it doesn't have to be all day. Sometimes my wife calls me and it is about some stuff that like the sheets or new pillows.
You're like, what?
All right, new pillows. Okay, I'm working. It's I get that.
I'm not gonna co-sign this part of the conversation.
She's gonna be mad, bro.
She's gonna listen to this one. It wasn't me. It's not part of my notes, okay?
But when it comes time to show up, you gotta show up.
Mm-hmm.
With open ears and not to respond, because that's what we do. We are just trying to respond all the time. They don't. You know what? Your wife does not want you to respond. When she's on a rant, she does not care about your advice.
It depends.
It does depend.
No, they do want you to respond. You have to have the right response at the right moment. Now, figuring that out, that's on you.
You're right.
You have to respond. You can't give advice when they're just venting, but you can't stay quiet either, because then she might think you're not listening.
Yep.
I think sometimes one of the best responses is just to repeat what they said.
Oh yeah. My wife did that to me today,
and you was like, "Ooh!"
It was she had to interview me for her class. She's studying mental health counseling, and it was like this open-ended questions. She's learning, like, she's in year 1, so she's learning the basics, and it was like, so what you're saying is, Yeah, what I noticed was and it was like a lot of that, and it's just getting you to eventually say what you knew all along.
Yeah. So repeating what they say is a nice way to just show that you're listening without giving advice.
Yeah,
which is tough because sometimes I just want to give advice.
Yeah. So I think this one's pretty simple. We kind of know what to do.
I mean, it could be a little bit more complex also. I think I have something.
Hit me with it.
All right. So loving someone through change. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that in itself is something that you have to be present for. Mm-hmm. Right? When you're seeing somebody going through something, you can't just want the old person back. You can't just keep thinking about the old person. Like this, like people change, right? So if you're in a relationship with someone and they're growing and they're growing through something, growing mm-hmm. through something, and you're just like, well, we don't do this anymore. Like we don't do that anymore. You don't come and do this, and it's like you have to take the time to try to understand what changed. Yep. Right? Like if something changed at work and there's more of a load on that individual and he just has less energy when he comes home, like that's something like you should not necessarily hold against him, especially if you don't know. Mm. And if you don't know, that means you're not communicating.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So when you see that change, you have to be like, okay, something changed. Like you have to be present enough to realize that something changed. And it could be depression, it could be anxiety, whatever it is. It takes like understanding your partner and being able to be like, hey, like the past couple weeks I've noticed such and such.
Yeah. I've dealt with it. Like you meet someone and then you have a kid with them and now they're a mom.
Yeah.
And now they're, you have these expectations and stuff, and like you gotta let that shit go. Like being a mom, that shit is fucking hard.
It is hard.
Hormonally, what they go through, with postpartum and with all that, and like it's hard on both, right? I don't want to say it's harder. It is harder on the mom, but it's hard on both.
Yeah.
But just knowing that we're meant to change. if you stay the same, you've met, like that's like saying on the first page of the book or the second page of the book, you weren't turning the pages. So I would say more than just anticipating change, not like wanting to see someone change mm-hmm. is even better.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait to see the next chapter in Carrie's book. Like,
yeah.
Like that's awesome. And then if you do that, then you're looking out for these changes. Like, oh, I can't wait to see what she does next. Yeah. Like, and it's not always gonna be in your favor, dude.
No, not at all. But dude, you're right. And I'm not gonna lie. I have to say, I've been guilty of not noticing the change myself. Like I've been a victim of it, and I've also been guilty of it. Mm-hmm. Right. And going through therapy, that's when I realized, okay, like I was in the wrong, mm-hmm. right? Because you just brought up having a kid.
Yeah.
Like for me, it didn't necessarily change me as much as the mother.
Yeah.
Right. Because for me, it's just like, okay, now I have more responsibility. It's a mental thing for me. Also, like, yeah, it's a bigger burden. But there's other things that I'm not gonna go through, and having a kid. Like it's tough because if both of you guys are going through changes and neither one of you are necessarily like aware of it because you're also preoccupied with this new life that you have to take care of.
Yeah.
So you completely forget about your partner. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's tough right there.
There's therapy, but there's also books. So many books on understanding what the other person is going through because mm-hmm. they're not going to tell you. They're trying to figure out their hormones and all this craziness, and it's like pick up a book and just like pick up a Spark Notes of a book, and just like All right, video, like I kind of understand, you know, like, all right, she's acting this way because of this and that. It's not her fault that she's crazy.
Don't get me in trouble. Oh my God, this is an episode we get in trouble. But yes, you're absolutely correct. Like it, you have to go, and you don't know, because this is not something that is taught, not something that's talked about. Like, hey, if you have a kid, you should consider going into therapy. If they have a kid, they're gonna go through such and such. It's just, hey, you have a kid, cool. It's, you know, like you learn the basics, how to change a diaper and stuff like that.
So I realized when we were coming up with the title and what we wanted to talk about in this podcast, and we were talking about the reps that count, it's discretionary effort. And that is picking up that book. That because people are like, I don't know, I should act crazy. Bro, figure it out. Bro, like try a little bit. You know, it's those are the reps that count, and those are the reps that can really change your relationship. Like, they notice that shit. They notice when you're applying a little bit of effort, and don't get mad when they don't notice it,
and don't do it for the wrong reason.
Like, don't do it for the wrong reason. I did this and that. She didn't even say
yeah. Do it for your understanding. You know what I mean?
Your understanding.
Don't do it to just like throw it in this person's face. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot there, man. I think like we should probably just do a relationship episode.
I would want to bring on like a relationship expert or something. 100%. Like that. Yeah. 100%. Because this is about the extent that I know.
We might. That will be the rep that count. They can help us out with our relationships.
That'd be great. I'm always trying to grow and learn.
So we just set that up. All right. So that was three. The three. Oh, we didn't do the nuggets yet. Yeah, everything felt like a nugget today.
I said this one before, but check-ins.
Okay.
Like a once a week check-in where you sit down and you really talk, and no small talk or anything like that. Like you know, how are you doing? Like, you good? Like, are we still on track to meet these goals? Or, you know, do you need my help? Do you know, how can I help you? And undistracted, I feel like that those conversations can go a long way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with you there. Like, definitely set some time to check in and have a conversation. Like, and just know, I'm talking from experience here, that the check-ins are not always going to go well.
50%.
Like, sometimes the check-in might start on Sunday and end on Thursday.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
That's that might prevent 6 months of not talking about it, and then it blows up.
You know, check-ins are kind of like the controlled fires that firefighters do to prevent wildfires.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're intentionally just, hey, let's get this brush, like
Absolutely.
these leaves that are gathering. Let's burn them up right now. Get them out of the way before the whole neighborhood catches fire.
Yep.
So yeah, check in for sure.
Yeah. This was great.
I love that.
I like this one.
Yeah. Right on time. I love it. All right. I think that's the end of this episode.
I want to talk about our next episode.
Oh, yeah. We have
Carlos. So we have a special guest, Carlos. He is, I need a bio from him, but he is a lawyer.
Okay.
For insurance companies, specializing in mental health and getting people access to therapy. So he's going to share a lot of tips, and then he's like, yeah, like there's so many resources that people don't even use or they didn't even know about. That's like subsidies and also like a supplemental insurance. So he was like, dude, and like these therapies can cost $10. You know,
oh, I need that.
I know, dude. I know. Need that. I was like, everyone does. So I'm so excited about this because it really ties into what we're doing. I don't want him to tell me anything before because I just.
Oh, you didn't get any like insider trading?
No, I'm waiting. I want the wow factor of.
Okay.
You know, him being on the show, and he's an amazing guy, new dad too. So,
okay.
Really, really good person. So I'm really excited about that, and you guys get to see it.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hopefully get therapy for $10.
And he's serious. Like he was, yeah.
Okay.
I can't wait.
We're going to find that. All right. So that's coming up on the next episode. Another thing we really, really want to do is start taking questions from our listeners. So if you could just send some questions over on Instagram. You can send us a direct message or comment anything you want under the videos. The Instagram is at the Reps That Count Podcast. You could do it on YouTube. Like, we're not gonna miss your questions. Like, we don't have a lot of comments, so we're gonna see it.
Yeah, we'll see
so any question you have, just anything you want us to tackle, if there's like a topic or something, just throw it in there, and we'll gather some information and try to make sure we give you guys the content that could help you hit the Reps That Count.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, man.
Until next
time. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Well.